Thank you for hanging out with me tonight. I am JB Bryan, President and Chief Investment Officer of JB Bryan Financial Group, the home of AfroEconomics, and the home of AfroEconomics is having the AfroEconomics Fest in March. Make sure you go to AfroEconomics Fest or go to the website. And featured tonight is the Underground Entrepreneur, my workshop on Friday afternoon. It's a 3-day financial freedom festival. And on that Friday afternoon, the 6th, I'm doing a workshop after our members only luncheon, and everything is absolutely free. It's priceless. And I encourage you to take some time on that Friday and participate in the Underground Entrepreneur, my new workshop. And it is going to be an exciting opportunity to look at all of this stuff: doubling your income, leveraging, thinking big, tax strategies, in debt freedom, all of that for the business person or business owner. So it's a great opportunity to take advantage of a serious business exchange, networking opportunities, but also as I celebrate more than 25 years in business, I want to make sure that I share as much information as I have. Take this unique opportunity that you're taking the time out. I'm going to pour as much as I possibly can into our weekend. I want to make sure also that that tone does not happen again. How are you, Mike Rob? Thank you. Mr. Jenkins, Monica, Miss Hayes, Larry, ND. Thank you all so much. The Cotmans, Miss Kaya, Miss Pritchett. Look at you, 202 callers, 804 callers, 301 callers. The Miss Perkins, Mr. Lewis, Ms. Lewis, not related. I can't wait for y'all to meet each other one day. Miss Simonson, I look forward to talking to you soon. And hey, Mr. Jones, JC Jumpers in the house. Thank you all so much. Let's make sure, like that's just the intro. If I said hi to everyone near the end, I should, because within the next 5 minutes, everyone else will be logging in, feeling left behind. But I do a recording for them, so check out the YouTube channel. Please subscribe, as I always load it up, and we have a huge library. So I want you to take advantage of all of the financial empowerment. Let's look at expecting the unexpected. Expecting the unexpected. And of course, we're all still grasping and healing from the loss of Kobe Bryant and his daughter and their friends, and the feeling that their family must be going through. And I am so just inspired by his life while he was living, because of his commitment and his work ethic. That, being an entrepreneur, I am constantly grasping at people who work as hard or harder than I do, so that I can know that I'm not alone. Because those of you who know me know how thoroughly committed I am to building my craft and building this business and helping as people more and more and more. And I am thankful to be surrounded by people who truly believe in what I'm building. And that is just a blessing. But that's the opportunity. That's what Kobe lived by. I saw an interview and he was talking about how much he appreciated his wife loving and understanding his work ethic. I feel the same way about my man in my life, that how much he must sacrifice for how much I work. And but I appreciate it. And it's like just a requirement that if you, for all of us, I think that we should take advantage of tonight, just going to your loved ones, and then my daughter's entire life, I have never heard her once complain to me about, I mean, I had the business almost 10 years when she was born. So I was deep into the business. It was part of my life. I've been quoted in an article that my first child, or my only child at that time, that my child, the business was my baby, because I didn't have a baby when I started the business. And so I'm doing this interview and I'm like, this is my child. And then having her was such a blessing to me, because she has totally always understood, never complained. It is just a part of our life that my clients, the members, that you're our family. We're all together. So in thinking of that, we all have to think about, what if things change? What if we're not together? What if you're not with me tomorrow? What if I'm not with you tomorrow? And I want us to just think about expecting the unexpected, and not always things. It doesn't have to be that that we pass away, but one thing that is guaranteed is death, and two things are guaranteed: death, and that we're going to have to pay taxes, and three, you got to pay government school loans back, right? But there are things that we have to be prepared for. And I don't think that we like to think about that. But when this happened, I found myself yesterday, just at the spare moments that I had between my day, I started doing the exact things that I'm going to tell you to do tonight. Because I'm committed to, I got to walk like I talk. And it's not always easy. But the last thing that I want is for anything that happens to me, and for you all to not have a plan. Like, I have a plan. In financial service business, we have a succession plan. It's a requirement that what will happen if something happens to me. What is next? What is the next thing? What is the script that Chelsea will say? What will happen? We have to have a plan. I tell clients all the time, if something happens to me, this is what I expect for you going forward. And that is not unrealistic or inappropriate. That is the reality of it. And sometimes, people say, like, what if something happens to you? Or what if you die? Then what do I do? And then I go into, this is what you have to do. I expect all of you to ask that. But in all honesty, just because we're developing a plan, I'm including you in it. And the most powerful part of whatever we establish is that you understand it. What would hurt me more than anything is for something to happen to me and you say, I don't know exactly what I have, because this is what me and JB set up. But because that's not my philosophy, that's not what we do. You are involved in every step of the way, and that is very important, for you to have an understanding of every financial matter of your life. And that doesn't mean that I'm saying that, that needing me is undervalued. No, needing me is valued. But the point is that I am to build you. You're not to be dependent. I'm to make you stronger. I'm not a crutch. I'm a muscle builder. I make you stronger. Well, let me share with you that in 2017, an article was printed in the Atlantic that was featuring a survey that was done by the Pew Survey Company. And it said that it was about Americans' financial instability, noting that nearly half of those surveyed would have a hard time coming up with $400 to cover a sudden expense for their family. And of course, that's bad news, because there are going to be unexpected expenses. And what we're saying, that people, that there are a lot of people that would have problems coming up with just $400. Say that it was an illness, a car that needed repaired, or a home problem, or your water heater breaks, or the air conditioner breaks, or, but they would not be able to come up with the money to cover it. Too many people. So the report found that many American families can spend about half of their monthly income covering expenses because that are coming up unexpectedly. And that's with a median income of about $2,000, that they would have to spend about half of their monthly income to cover these unexpected expenses. So what would they do about their bills? So this is just to show you how important it is for us to save. The survey found that making less than $25,000 a year, or being Black or Hispanic, made the likelihood of experiencing a financial shock and struggling afterwards was much more likely for a Black, Hispanic person, or a person making under $25,000 a year. And that's why AfroEconomics is so important. And financial hardship can leave many families with just very few choices and really knocked off guard. And the survey also found that if you are faced with a financial hardship one year, you're much more likely to face a financial hardship at some point during the next year. We have to save. We have to make a commitment to budgeting and putting aside money for unexpected emergencies. Now I just want to give you some suggestions on preparing your family for the unexpected or definitely unwanted. Now, my first suggestion is that everyone has to be knowledgeable about the household financial affairs. So if you're married and your spouse pays all the bills and you don't know where the account numbers are, the bills are, the statements are, and then or where the bank account information is, or what email the bank account stuff is going to, then you have a responsibility upon hearing my voice to make sure that you become knowledgeable about financial affairs in your household. And I really hope, Ms. Lewis, that everybody is understanding what I'm saying. Ms. Witherspoon, you with me on that, Mr. Benta? Dr. A? But we all have, nobody has any excuse. Like, too often I meet people or they'll say, yeah, I've often thought about calling you, but now I'm talking in 2020, but my husband handles those things, and he is the way he is. But I am excited that I hear more and more people saying, that, and it is surprising to see that, because so many women make such a significant amount of the income in the average Black household, that a Black woman would feel that she, is not needed to understand financial affairs is saddening. That I would hope that they would realize now that anything can happen. You never know what tomorrow or this afternoon or the next moment may bring for any of us. So we all have to take responsibility. Nobody in the household needs to have that much pressure that if something happens to me, he'll be pitiful, or something happens to me, she'll be pitiful because she doesn't know anything about what's going on. No, I met this one lady after her husband died, and he had been sick for a long time, and their house was going into foreclosure. She never even attempted to make a house payment because she said he always handled that. So my second point is to get your legal documents in order. Make sure that you have a will. Make sure you understand that a power of attorney is good while you are living. So if you have the power of attorney to take care of matters for your sister or your brother or your husband or, your mom. Upon death, that power of attorney ends and it goes over to the executor or financial representative, depending on your particular area of the will. So these are legal matters, not giving you legal advice by any means, just giving you suggestions from an investment advisory perspective that make sure that you have a will, even using LegalZoom, using the services that are out there for you, but having the will, and what I have seen is that, a will under really is acceptable with just having you writing it and having a witness to you writing it. And you can take it to the county or your city where you live and actually register that. Now you can check and verify on that and check when you go down to the clerk's office and to register it, but it doesn't have to be that complicated. Leave this to that, leave everything to this. You can set up things at the bank so that they already have pay upon death to the person. Your investment accounts can be set up for paid upon death. Your IRAs, your work plans, all of those things need to be updated. Make sure. I mean, I've seen things happen where they'll have debt together and he's remarried, but never changed the beneficiary on the life insurance policy. So the second wife, when he passed, isn't able to pay off the mortgage on the new home that they just purchased together. That's not good. A medical directive, another legal document to look into. Who's going to take care of things, or who's going to decide if you're plugged up to the machines and things like that. Have those things and have them updated and have a current copy at all times, right? So gather this information, gather all of that information and keep it together in a file. Where are you going to keep that file? Where is it going to be? So you have this file, but nobody knows where you put it, Miss Hayes. Right, Larry? Where did you put the file that has the information on all of these things? You have to have that lockbox. Did you know that identity theft generally is done by someone that knows you? So you want to make sure that you have this in a place, because it's, identity theft, that's going to be from someone who has access to your identity information. So be very careful to put this information, this file that I'm encouraging you to create, to keep it in a safe place that is locked up. Might want to keep another copy off premises, might want to keep it in a safe deposit box, but then somebody needs to know where the safe deposit box. You may have heard me tell the story about my uncle, one of my father's brothers, who put me as the executor of his estate, which for his state was called financial representative. And so I was to take care of things, and everybody knew, the estranged wife and everything, but I didn't know. So they did exactly what they wanted to do with his remains and how everything was done. And then they told me about it because they needed something done when there was no way to get around the estate. But nothing was done according to his instructions. And it was horrible. And everything, it was horrible. It was horrible, horrible experience. And I couldn't believe, but the worst thing about it is he didn't tell me, so I couldn't look out for his interest. Because if I had known, I immediately, upon death, would have said, okay, we need to do things this way. So if you put someone on the paperwork, make sure you let them know they're on the paperwork. So gathering the information, having that folder, having that file, having that whole row of big box, of put your estate document. What are we going to put in this information? What are we going to gather? And you let your spouse know where it's located, but you also have to let someone other than your spouse know, because if something happens and you and your spouse pass away at the same time, where's this information? And so then someone was telling me a story a couple of weeks ago that someone had left money in a closet in a house, and they had the money left in the closet of a house of somebody who died, and the family said, come and get that money out of that closet, or you're going to or basically come now and get that money. But they had told them that the money in the closet is not mine. That money belongs to this other person. And I found that to be amazingly honest, because they could have said, well, I don't know what else to tell you, because we inherited the house and everything in it. They did not have to tell them you could come get your money out of the house. So have your estate documents, your wills, all of those legal documents, have them in your box, your folder. Also have your insurance policy information, your insurance policy numbers, your policy numbers. What type of insurance do you have? What type of life insurance do you have? Make sure that it is all the time. Make sure it's paid up. What is the premium? When is it due? So if you're hospitalized or something, you don't want your life insurance to not be paid, because I know one thing that helps you rest is to set your insurance up to be auto paid, and pray that that always is taken care of. But just to make sure that if something happens, or you go out of the country, like I saw on the news, and this man's wife and children went to China and they won't let her come home because of the lockdown over that virus. So it's but I don't know what they were thinking, because it was already on the news, sounds like, when she went over there. So I don't know. You never know what people are thinking. But you never know what happens. Expect the unexpected. Have all your policy information, the premiums, the premium due dates, who the beneficiaries are. The more information, the better, on all of your insurance policies, the type of insurance policies. Say that you have a temporary, a term policy, say when the term ends and everything. Health insurance information, know your deductibles, know the maximum out of pocket, everything. Do you have disability insurance and something happens to you and you're disabled and you're not able to, you cannot communicate this? Have that information available. Long-term care information, any type of insurance information, have it available, who the beneficiaries are, disability information, when will it activate, what is the waiting period, what is the maximum out of pocket. Have all of the policy information there available for that secret place, but not so secret that it can't be found. So somebody's got to know. Include the premium payments, how you pay your payments. The websites for these insurance companies is great. User IDs and passwords. I'm telling you, I just did this the other day because it just shook me. Now, I mean, I knew, but I just needed to sometimes you just need to go over everything again. I think the beginning of the year is a good time to just make sure you have everything set up. And then make sure that you include information on your residence, mortgage information, homeowners insurance information, have that in there, your auto insurance information, the deductibles, how much coverage you have, what cars are covered, everything. Information on it. I want to make sure that we review your auto insurance. Let's make sure we look at that. Let's make sure we look at your homeowners insurance. I am licensed in all of the insurances, and I need to do a better job in evaluating that and making sure we're up to date, because I always think about only as an investment advisor. So I talk about that all the time. But take full advantage of any insurance questions that you have. Make sure that I help you through it. And if it's in a state that I don't do business, insurance will allow me to get appointed in any state, and I can add on your state if we need to do something. So let's evaluate those things and make sure you have all of that information together. Putting this stuff together is great for our meetings. And it's going to happen in all of the financial planning stuff. List all your credit cards. We're expecting the unexpected. Something happened to you and you want to make sure that your bills still get paid. You don't want to get behind on your bills because you're sick. You want your family and friends to be able to help you. List any investment accounts. List all your banking accounts. Have that all there. Have the IDs and the passwords. That have the contact information. Have it all available. Look at the tax returns. Have at least your last year's tax return in that folder, in that file. Have your budget in there, what your monthly bills are. Sometimes you might miss something, but when you see that, have your most recent bank statement in there. Any online accounts that you have your ID and passwords in there. Even social media stuff. So if something happens to you and you might have in your letter of instruction that turn off all of my social media accounts. Your business websites, the access to the business websites, any safe deposit locations, any business, if you own a business, any lease agreements, any partnership information, if you have partners, any employee benefits information, anything dealing with your business, have a section for that. And then your contact list. Hopefully it will start with Bryan Financial Group, the home of AfroEconomics, 1-844-JB-Bryan on your contact list to contact me and let me know that you're okay. And then, so have a to-do list of things that you would like to be done if you are pass away. These are the things how you would like it to be done. And then also, like what would be first things that would have to be done, especially if you own a business, what are the first things that need to be done? What are the next things that have to be done? What needs to be done as soon as possible after those other things are done? If you have an unfortunate illness or disability, and it's not going to be forever, but these things need to be done. Have that information in there. This takes time, but you're worth it. Expect the unexpected and make sure that everyone knows that needs to know where this information is. And don't wait till you're old to do this. It's time for you to do this. It's time for you to do it now. I feel like it's just something we have to do right now and get it all together. And then, so again, expecting the unexpected. Think about these things. What would you do if you lost your job? What would you do if your spouse loses their job? Another reason why we have to have that emergency fund. What would happen if you had a medical emergency? How would you pay the deductible? Do you know what your deductible is? Do you know your worst case scenario for a hospital expense? Make sure you're very careful with that as you're selecting your health insurance and you choose to get the cheapest one. You have to realize the risk involved. It may have a higher out of pocket. So let's be conscious of that and let's look at that and let's talk about things before you just pick a health insurance. Make sure that you have a strategy or take on the seriousness of when you become a homeowner, how are you going to pay for these unexpected home repairs? Because a lot of people go, oh, renting is a waste of money. Well, is it really a waste of money if you don't have an emergency fund in order to cover a water heater that bursts or anything that could happen in the home, or though it just needs to, any repair that you need to do that would have been covered if you did not had not purchased that home without any emergency fund. So I feel that when we go into something like a home, we need to make sure that you realize my worst case scenario, because there's a lot of these programs that say all you need is $1,000 to purchase a home. And then they make you pay a higher interest rate for the private mortgage insurance and PMI and because the likelihood of foreclosure is so much higher for a person who has a little bit of money to put down. Realize that they're protecting themselves, but what are you doing to protect yourself? Unexpected car repairs, unexpected funeral costs for a parent or a family member. So we have to have, large tax bills. Let's look at these things. That's why tax planning is so important. But at the same time, with refunds coming right around the corner, make sure that if you don't have an emergency fund that is big enough to cover 3 months of your expenses, do not purchase something else with that refund. Make sure that instead you use your tax refund to start that savings that you need. So I want us to make sure that we expect the unexpected, that we become serious about protecting our families, and that we become proactive about living below our means. Right? Miss Hayes says, this is terrible, right? Tell someone in the family, definitely. Tell someone in the family where your just in case something happens to me file is. And Boris says, we're going through this now. Wow. I have a family member with a major health problem. Wow, I'm sorry to hear that, but I'm glad that I was able to share, because at some point, most of us will go through an unexpected expense due to something outside of our control. Agreed, Lady Singh? Agreed, Monica. How are you doing, Miss Lewis? I'm sorry. Yes, indeed. I did. How are you? Oh, we have two Joneses as well, but we have a Vile. Good to see you. Well, good to see your name. I can't wait till one day, Mr. Fenner, that someone will say, hey, JB, got my hands up. I want to come on camera with you. Maybe that will be Awa. Awa will be that one. Hey, Monica, I appreciate you all. So bottom line, in a quick summary, I want you to expect the unexpected. And I want you to make sure that you are the knowledgeable one in your family, and you make sure that you have your spouse as knowledgeable as well. If you are single, make sure that you have a family member or a friend that you really trust that knows about your financial affairs as well. Get your legal documents in order. Do that gathering of your information so that you have your documents together, your estate documents, the insurance documents, all of that. Listen to this video again. Make sure you subscribe to AfroEconomics with JD Bryan on Facebook and on YouTube, indeed. And update your beneficiaries. List all of your debts. A big step in your AfroEconomics membership, when we set up that financial plan and we go through a lot of these things, that could be a good start to this. And make sure, if you're a business owner, have all of your business agreements also in your file, knowing that if you are, as a business, and I'm going to talk about this in my entrepreneurs workshop at the AfroEconomics Fest as well, we do need to think about, if you go into business with someone, and I've seen people go through this, know that you must have a plan that if something happens to you, how do you protect, something happens to you, how do you protect your family from the business just being taken away from by someone else that you may be in business with? So it could be, you could be in business with your cousin, but you want to make sure that your wife inherits your portion of the business, but she doesn't know anything about being a plumber. Well, then you could have insurance that will actually pay your wife. So your partner, you and your partner could have a key man insurance policy, but we can talk about that type of stuff. But there are ways to make sure that you protect your family from, we have to expect the unexpected. So let's talk, consider the entrepreneurship membership. Make sure you register for the AfroEconomics Fest. It's priceless. Have a wonderful evening. Members only meeting Friday morning at 9 a.m. and Sunday morning for the soul of your money at 7 a.m. Uh-oh. I'll say, yes, I will be that one. You get ready. Get ready, world. Bless you. Bless you back, Mr. Bullock. Thank you all so much. I appreciate you all. No, it's my pleasure, Mom.